So, today we're gonna talk about the newest Forest 6-star, the Chivalrous Heart Yao. Nobody's surprised, right? After we already took a look at everyone's favorite ninja the last time, to be fair, she's also the only one, we now have to take a look at Yao. So we can also for her decide for good if it's worth throwing some of your resources at her, or if you should rather just run away with your wallet before she uses it to buy more food. But before we get into our investigation, let me like usual thank all of my channel members, and of course also an extra big thank you to the VIP of the channel, the Grand Warlock. Thank you all so much for your support, which keeps helping me delivering some scuffed YouTube content. And also don't forget about joining the Discord if you haven't already. But enough of that, let's see how Yao puts all of that food she devours on your bill to use, while looking at her skill set. And before we get into her active skill, how do I break it down to you? We will have to once again talk about something very bad. It might hurt you, you might leave this video with scars you will never get rid of. Scars that will haunt you for the rest of your life. Because she uses the captain changes, okay? I wanted to protect you, but I simply couldn't. But don't worry too much, as in her case most of the gimmick this mechanic provides is actually taken care of by her active, as it on use instantly swaps Yao to the captain position, in the process giving her 1 stack of heroic mark. And hold on, I know what you want to say. Who exactly is this mark and why is he heroic? I tried, okay. Jokes aside, heroic marks very simply give you an attack buff of 5% of your basic attack per stack with a max of 7. And how do you exactly get these? Well, one way is, like I mentioned earlier, the use of her active skill, and the second way, coincidentally, is also completed by it as well. Yes, I prepared you for this moment, okay? You can do it. Captain changes. Or to make more sense of it, whenever she switches to the captain position. But I already told you to not worry about this by now way too overused changing of your current ship leader mechanic, as her active once again does all of your work for you. You might as well call it Mom by now. Not Yao, you ho. Anyway, this active does it all. It not only provides you with your first way to get heroic marks, but also at the same time with your second one, which also gets her to the captain position to actually make use of these marks. As I didn't mention till now, totally not because I forgot, that these marks only buff Yao when she was at the captain position in this round. And the keyword here is was, because that means she doesn't have to stay captain, which is something that will come up later. But for now, let's switch our attention back to this buff, as yes, of course there's some level of balance in this world, which results in all of your buffs disappearing at the end of the turn you made use of them. Yes, you heard that right. Thankfully not every turn, but only a turn when you switched her to the captain position. After all, if this wouldn't be the case, all of these kung fu movies I watched in preparation for this would be for naught. But now that we know how her kit in general works, and hoarded enough cultivation techniques, wait, you didn't? We need to know how she puts these buffs to use. Well, there's for one, this huge attack stat, which makes these percentage numbers all the more appealing. But it's way easier to just show you. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you yet. Her chain actually has a quite huge range. It's not too cluster, but you take what you get. And her active also has another effect, as it additionally to swapping her to the captain position, giving her more stacks and also returning her to the last team spot at the end of the round, also doubles her chain damage. Whoa. Don't get too excited here. Let me finish first. Doubles her chain damage to the 4 adjacent tiles for this round. So while this sounds not as good anymore, it is still quite insane. Double the damage is nothing to scoff at after all, but this also just means that the double damage will only apply once, unless we get L-shaped enemies in the future, I guess. Or you get together with Yao in shape. Not like that, just by using a double chain support to skyrocket your damage, like for example Louise in Forest's case. With her help you can kind of take advantage of this twice, but of course the second time does a lot less damage, as it's based on Louise's and not Yao's through her active increased attack stat, which is a shame, but it works. And while we're already at it, let's see how well Yao works, by switching to the second segment of this video, team comps, use cases and co. And yes, you might have realized it by now, Yao is in fact Aria's secret big sister. Don't tell anyone. Both are detonators, focused on dealing big damage in a short amount of time. They both watch the SyNo on YouTube, and both gain an insane amount of damage with the help of their 2-turn CD skill. So obviously, Yao is going to have to fight over the main DPS slot in the usual burst teams, as there can only be one, because there simply isn't enough space, as hero already exists. And yes, I know, a lot of people were worried about hero not properly working with Yao, as hero does want to be captain all the time to trigger her passive as often as possible, but as I told you before, just use her active, get Yao in there, and just throw her back into the last slot with a captain change before she eats all of your food rations. Easy fix, right? So with that cleared up, let's look at their damage on a volatile enemy. And yes, unfortunately, while Yao's double damage is very huge and produces equally huge numbers, it's just not enough in the face of true power, aka Aria's piercing hits. These are just way too damn strong. Like, how are you supposed to beat that? She proves once again that she's just way too good. And yes, I'm talking about Aria, not Yao. And yes, that also means that the little sister doesn't always have to be littler in other areas. But Yao's kit does kind of make her out to be more of a single target focused DPS anyway. So when we compare them on a single target, which is unfair I know, Aria clearly loses this as she can't take advantage of her strongest weapon, while Yao is basically at her brightest here. But once again, there's already a king of single target DPS in Forest. Of course I'm talking about the old seal character of the Forest element, Mythos. And when we now move on to compare their damage on a single target, they actually kind of look equal. Until Mythos uses her active skill, then I don't know how to tell it to you. Yao is once again being demolished by another free character. Yes, both Aria and Mythos are basically free, at least the first copy in Aria's case. Which gets me kinda curious. Is there actually anyone out there that didn't pick Aria from the story boxes? Comment down below if you're one of those unfortunate, or I guess lucky souls if you already got her. And no, when we look at Yao, she will take you about 100 rolls to get, only to be subpar compared to one, and about equal to the other, sometimes. Yeah, let's forget about burst. Let's look at, yeah, the only real advantage you will have by using Yao over others is pretty much just general content, as she doesn't have the huge demerit that Aria is plagued by with her active, so yeah, she performs better in general content, which doesn't mean much at all. And when we get to her breakthroughs, let's just say that the future doesn't look any brighter, as preemptive on BT3 is cool and all, and makes her a lot better for a burst, but as we already cleared up, you're not gonna use her there. And Aria also has preemptive on her first BT, and Mythos BTs are only gated by time. So, let's just get this wrapped up, okay? In conclusion, the newest Forest 6-star detonator Yao is pretty strong, but not needed at all. What can I even say? Forest is just too damn stacked in more than one way. Hero, Mythos, Aria, there's simply no space, and neither a place for Yao. While she might have huge stats, a decent chain, and more impressively, some of the highest damage potential on a single tile in the game, she's simply not good enough. That's just the current state of Forest. Aria is free and does more damage on multi-tile, Mythos is free and equals and often even surpasses Yao, and is once again completely free. So while I definitely can't deny that Yao is really strong, I can honestly not recommend anyone rolling for her. Beginners already get a free Aria relatively quickly, and Mythos after a while, and veterans already have those two probably maxed. So sadly, the only meta Yao is ever going to be part of is the home screen one. If you like her design, I can understand, you do you. but gameplay-wise, I wouldn't call her fun. I sadly can't call her worth rolling for, and with that, we're done for today. Tell me in the comments what you think about her, if you roll for her, all that jazz. Thank you for watching, leave a sub and like if you enjoyed the video. That was all from me, and I will see you next time when we will talk about... I don't know, we will see.